I don't put that there because if I put that there, then the window crunch becomes a problem. All right, let's get into it. What is going on here? Did I close it? I guess I closed it. All right. The news of the day. I don't think we're going to do a whole hour today. But the news of the day seems to be snow in New York City, right? And 70 degrees here. Weird. All right. So, news. Is this thing gonna go again? This thing is gonna go again. Trying to stop this secondary alarm from going off. All right. Well, what time is it? Yep, it's gonna go off at 7. All right. So, where is it? We just cut that off until. Oh yeah. uh. Excuse me. Ugh, I've been running all day. I gotta tell you, I have to go now and look at what I tweeted. I don't often tweet, and I already forgot what I tweeted. We're gonna look it up as soon as I get this thing to not alarm. Not to alarm. Good lord, the language. Ugh, I'm starving. He should. If it's what I'm think it is. All right, so here we go. We can put this. All right. Where's my Twitter account? What is your name? What is your quest? Introducing NFT profile pictures. Oh, you're talking about the Laquan McDonald guy. Yeah. He shouldn't get his pension. But it depends. Some agencies you don't lose your pension. Uh if you retire and then you commit a crime, it's still your pension, right? Others say, well, if you commit a crime, they pull your pension. Uh that's different if you're convicted of a crime before your pension. You're arrested and convicted. That means you're fired from the job, which means you don't get a pension. Just means you're fired. Uh, there was a guy in New York who had text messages about eating women, who was a policeman, and they arrested him and put him on trial. He got fired from the job. He was convicted. He sentenced to 15 years and all this. And he did like 3 years in jail or something. And then was overturned on appeal. Um, and then the higher court said he can dream whatever he wants to dream. He didn't do anything to anybody. And then he sued the New York City Police Department, got his job back, reinstated his pension with lost time. And that's the way that works. So if you did, if you were a policeman and you were walking around 6 months into the job, and then someone said you beat me up and you took my drug money, and then they arrested you, and then you went to trial, and then they convicted you, and then you spent 18 years in jail, and then they let you out because the guy said, "Well, his man, I lied, and me and my friend wanted to set him up," and then his other friend corroborates it, and they even got a tape on, hey, we're going to set that guy up. And they were 20 years old, and there's no way they can say that you did this. They'll release you, and then you can sue whoever fired you, and all that time will accumulate, and it'll be like you had 20 years. That's just, the way they bargain the whole thing. I think it makes sense, quite frankly, because people say things. But there's a lot of goofies going on too. I mean, during the crack epidemic, cops were stealing drug money and living in like $1 million mansions on Long Island. And when they went and arrested them, they were like, "You can't afford this $200,000 car and this $3 million house on a cop's salary. What are you doing?" So yeah, a lot of people got arrested. Yeah, but not. He would have to appeal his conviction, have it overturned, then sue for his job and reinstatement of his pension. The first, I was about to say the first one is a big hill. I'm reading. I should be reading these out loud, right? Does he get his pension? I don't think he does. Cause like I said, he wasn't convicted. It always seems they appeal and get the pension and back pay. Um, yeah, I would agree with that. But I was gonna say he's got a hill to climb by getting his conviction overturned. It was very notable. The police commissioner lost his job, right? Um, yeah, the Chicago Police Department was a shit show. Do you remember that? So the police commissioner lost his job for covering this up. The mayor covered it up and ran for election and won. Then it came out after he was elected, and this is why people are so furious with Rahm Emanuel. And then they found a high-ranking, like I think his replacement, the police chief, was having this affair with this woman who wasn't his wife, who was also like a high-ranking police captain or something. And then someone found them both asleep in the car, I want to say with drugs. And then he lost his job and his pension. He was summarily fired. So, yeah, I don't even know what's going on with that. You might have to look it up. But he was at a lot of the press conferences saying the thing as a police, 4 stars and the whole thing. You're just kind of like, these people are a shit show. Jeff Zelnick uh, essentially had to resign from CNN today because they were going to fire his ass. That whole place is, man, that story, the CNN story is ridiculous. It says a lot about how the place is ruled, and it all seems to be coming apart at the seams, right? They're trying to, I think the people in power are trying to control narrative, and no one's listening to them. And now we're sending troops to the Ukraine. Oh boy. All right. We just went through this. But these are the distractions that people talk about. Zucker and Cuomo. Yeah. Yeah. So it looks like Cuomo was like, "Oh, you give me my money." And then he told his lawyers about this affair that everybody knew about with this woman. They both broke up both their marriages, right? And she used to work for Cuomo. So they're thinking that she was like, go easy on Cuomo. They're family, and she knows them. So everybody knows each other. It's a Peyton place. Everybody's in bed with each other. No one. I mean, yeah, I can. So you can see what's going on with the whole environment. People end up marrying in these places, right? But like I always say, dating at work is fraught with problems. Just because dating is fraught with problems, right? How many ex-girlfriends or ex-boyfriends do you have? Right? I mean, the proposition is built for failure. The last one counts, right? Whoever you marry, that one counts. But people are just bumping uglies at work like it's not a problem, and it's so unseemly. Um, and she just got this giant fat job. She was supposed to take his place. I think he was supposed to be tapped for higher up age or something, and then now he's fired. and she was going to take his place when he left, and I think she's going to be fired. And this is a thing, right? Women reserve the right to have sleep with you with like the boss or the co-workers, right? Under the guise of feminism and my body and I'm a woman. But then it causes all these problems. It causes all these problems. Because I remember in the 80s, it was happening on Wall Street and they outright banned it. And then they fired this guy and this lady who was secretly doing it. And then they sued saying that they fell in love at work and it should be allowed. And now you're like, okay, now what the fuck do I do? And now you're back in the same position. You're in the back in the same position. No pun intended. Now come on. Whose fault is this? I think you're gonna have to like blame the proper parties for some of this nonsense, right? I mean, women being ridiculous in the workplace is a thing, and it's usually sexual. Women keep acting like, oh, it's always not always the men. It's not always the men. Some women play these games, right? So unseemly. What else? What have we got? Yeah, but not anymore. Since the Matt Lauer days, they have a clause in all these contracts that they won't pay you off if you're immoral and inappropriate in the workplace. They didn't pay you off. What's his name from CBS? What was his name? Who's married to the Asian lady who hosts Big Brother, who was once a morning host. They're all in bed together. What is his name? He was the chairman of CBS Viacom. Moonves, Les Moonves, didn't get his $100 million payout because he was inappropriate in the workplace. Could do nothing about it. I don't think Matt Lauer, Matt Lauer may have gotten his, but I don't know. But there was a lot since those there was quite a few who didn't, right? And people were sued for it. He was outright fired. Because they did after this whole thing, they looked into all this stuff, and this is what caught him. Looked into all this stuff about inappropriateness at work. And then they keep it ultra quiet because some people are just banging everybody. And you're like, oh, Jesus Christmas. Because he's doing an investigation. She didn't complain against anybody, and she's down here 16 times, right? None of these other people come. So I guess we just stash that under don't act on it, but at least we know. But over here, this woman's saying that this guy's inappropriate. We got 9 complaints about this guy, so we have to act on that. But at least you know who's fucking around in the workplace. We're paying you $100 million. Well, Les Moonves was probably making way more than that. But people are making like fucking $25 million a month. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous sums of money. They're hanging out with presidents. They get private jets everywhere they go. They don't drive a fuck unless it's a golf cart or something worth $200,000. They live in places as big as malls, right? They think they're Roman, senators. The amount of sexual bullshit that's come out in the last 10 years from the rich, right? While they distract us with wars as they loot the place. Ooh, how long can that go on? Nancy Pelosi won't run for speaker, but she's going to run for office again. You know why? Because the longer she's there, the less likely she'll be investigated. Once she's exited out, you can look, because she's a private, you can look up her ass with a fine-tooth comb. And she doesn't want that. They all want to remain in Congress. It's a place where you can do anything you want. Then the magic is keeping them there, right? And there's all these kind of weird ways to keep them there. Yeah, everybody's unhappy. I mean, they're talking about Zucker made Trump, right? And now not the world, but like, the country's at war with itself. Maybe he was an evil character. Look, man, falling in love with your coworker. Give me a fucking break. Have some loyalty to your woman. What happened to that? No one's saying you're never going to see somebody you don't think is attractive or really cool or witty or you absolutely get along with. right? No one's saying that. That's not what it says. Till death to us part, or until someone more interesting comes along, or makes me feel, whatever. Cass is just ridiculous with it. It really is. And the culture is this playground of the rich bullshit. While the place is falling apart, I keep saying I don't know if America. I used to say another place, but now I just think it's Cuba before the fall, before Castro came to town, right? While people were starving, they were building casinos for the rich, uh, Western, West Coast rich elite can go hang out there. It's where they found what's his name? The Cuban Cabana Boy, the '50s, that whole energy before Castro came to power. It made what is his name? Ricardo. What's his name? Desi Arnaz. Made Desi Arnaz famous, right? I don't know what to tell you. This is the history of the place. Um, so yeah, military helicopter. Like when I first moved here, I hadn't heard a helicopter. I didn't even notice it. I hadn't heard a helicopter for like, I want to say, I just played the music loud and had my headphones on and doing stuff here. But I hadn't heard a helicopter. I want to say about 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, and I heard it and it shocked me because I had just realized I've been hearing helicopters fly over my head all my life. Right? There's always a cop helicopter or a traffic helicopter going over you in New York City. Right? I was just so used to it. It's like sirens. I was so used to. Don't get a lot of those. Uh, so yeah, you just have to kind of like adapt. But it's funny because I was like, huh. And now when I hear it, I always know it's a military helicopter. It's never a police helicopter. And I feel like, huh, driving down the road, you look up, there's F-16 doing maneuvers in the sky. It's so fucking awesome to live here. I gotta tell you, man, it's amazing. Um, and it was 70 degrees today. I was talking to my man yesterday. It snowed. How much snow did you get, William? William in the chat. I'm bouncing my legs. I'm sorry, guys. I sort of want. I can't believe I don't have any. I have drinky poo in the kitchen. I don't have. You got 23 inches of snow? That, my dog, that is brutal. Um, yeah, the snow drifts are going to be ridiculous. It was 70 degrees today. It didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense. I stepped out the house with a Henley. This not a different one, but a Henley, uh, a hoodie, and a thermal because it really is. It's just. And I told you yesterday, the fog rolled in like it was a fucking horror movie. It was sunny all day, then all of a sudden the fog rolled in, and it just kept getting thicker. And we must have had about 100, maybe 200 feet, because of the skyscraper. Not very many, but one of the skyscrapers you could count the floors where the cloud layer began to disappear the building, and it was not that high up. Yeah, clouds just descended on us, rolled right on through. It was fucking awesome. I just can imagine what it was like on the water because this is still a boat town, boat beach town. Amazing. Well, New York has outlawed. New York don't does not do car chases. Uh, Los Angeles is spread out, and New York is compact. New York has a policy of picking you up later. I mean, you will run over a million motherfuckers fleeing in New York, right? Just trying to get to a highway to get out. And the way New York is a grid, everything converges on you anyway. Like whatever cop is within. the zone of that call. We do a lot of cop talking here, William. Well, whatever cop is within the zone of that call, all will sort of converge on like the area, right? Whereas it's hard to converge on you if you can pop onto a highway. Then it just becomes a long, winding chase to get you in LA. However, if you're in downtown LA and they're lucky, they can converge on like a bank scene, like and get you before you get to a parkway or highway or something other. But that whole place is built for cars. And New York was built in the 1600s for walking carriages, right? And at the one point, the Bronx was a farm. All of it was a farm. It's named the Bronx because the guy who owned it named was the Bronx or something. Bronxeling or something. He was from I want to say he was from the Netherlands, yeah. The Bronx. Let's look it up because we like looking shit up around here. The Bronx. Let's get its formal history, early name, etymology, and naming. The Bronx was called Ranachqua, Ranachqua. The Bronx was called Ranachqua by the native Sewanee, Siwanoi, Sewanee, band of Lenape, 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 also known historically as the Delawares. Hence while other native, maybe we should change the name of Delaware, you racist. All right, now everybody just calm down because you know that's going to happen in like a few weeks. People are going to move to change the name. Nobody's talking about changing Columbus, Ohio, but yeah, we're not even going to go. The Delaware, historically as the Delawares, while Native Americans knew the Bronx as Keskis, Keskis, Keskeskek, Keskesek. It was divided by the Aquahong River. The origins of Jonas Bronk, Bronck, 1600 to 43. He only lived to be 43 years old. Has been contested. Documents indicate he was Swedish, born immigrant from Karmstad Norra Lunga parish in Småland, Sweden, who arrived in New Netherlands during the spring of 1639. Bronx, Bronck, became the first recorded European settler in present-day Bronx and built a farm named Emmaus, Emmaus, Emmaus. Close to what today is the corner of Willis Avenue and 132nd Street. I used to live right around the corner from there, in Mott Avenue. He leased from the Dutch West India Company. Wow. The Dutch West India Company. Is that company still around? God bless it. Here's the thing about having one guy who runs your country with vision, right? Because we're not getting shit done. Versus having a dickhole run like your country. Like there's a whole bunch of dickholes, right? They gave these people a charter. The mayor, not the mayor, I'm sorry, the king, gave them a charter, gave them right to make money for the crown. Let's say you get to keep a nice chunk of it. Take the risk. We'll indemnify you with the government. Go find us some glory. Go find brave and bold men, equip them properly, and go do the great thing. You don't get that now. Now the guy who you need to get shoes from is giving you shitty shoes and overcharging you for it. Right now, all the money is bled out before you can get the ship into the water. Yeah, the whole thing is collapsing. It was a farm. Look how big this fucking farm was. Map of southern Westchester County in 1667. This, along with the southern part of the former town of Yonkers, became the Bronx. The Bronx is beautiful. All of it is mostly on a fucking hill. It's nice. I think George Washington was headquartered up in Manhattan or in the Bronx because the view overlooking the river was just wow. George. Good old George. All right, so I thought I'd pop in and talk about the Zucker story. I think we did that. We've only been streaming for 20 minutes. So let's wander through to the rest of the news because we're going to be back tomorrow because it's Friday. Can you believe it? Today's already Thursday. Look how swimmingly your week is going. Man, you guys are chilling. All right, let's get it done. I was watching this guy talk about podcasting, and he was on with his friend. She's a stand-up comedian. He does stand-up too, but his podcast is him. It's two guys, one to look shit up. Uh, have I been to Hightstown, New Jersey? No. I would love to go. I love to. I told you, everybody knows. I love uh colonial shit, colonial history. I don't know why. I mean, it would have been a bad time for me. But like, I sort of wish that's where it all went wrong. If you would have fixed it then, we wouldn't have this shit right now, right? So I'm sort of like, oh, why didn't they just? Could they have just? Why didn't they just kind of? So yeah, I've been to Philadelphia, saw the Liberty Bell, went to the old, not the church, right? Was Went up to Maine and saw what was that thing I went to Maine for? Anyway, there's a lot of old houses up there. I was really impressed with. Everything's the stone every place. What's that about? A lot of stone, big ass stones too. They're all white. Why is that? Why is Maine covered in white stone? Bedrock geology asks questions. Where is it? It probably has something to do with glacial activity, right? This is what I'm guessing. Why is Maine beaches so rocky? Nearly 60% of Maine's coastline is composed of hard rock, with the remaining 40% made up of soft bluffs, steep slopes of gravel, clay, and sand. When the tide rolls out, visitors to the rocky shore, the barnacles, mussels, All right. What kind of coast? That's the coast. They just told us that. Bedrock of Maine. What's the bedrock of Maine? Is solid, intact parts of earth crust. The outer layer, 20-25 miles thick, the main bedrock concealed by a veneer of unconsolidated sediment, mainly dispersed by ice age glaciers. We were right. Okay. The bedrock is concealed, meaning covered over. Why don't you just say the ground is? But okay. The bedrock is concealed by a thin veneer. But what is thin in this context? Um, Veneer of unconsolidated, meaning not tight, not locked together, unconsolidated sediment, dirt, mainly deposited by ice age glaciers, soil, and vegetation. Yeah, you know what that's called? That's called a terminal moraine. That's what Long Island is. So the idea is a storm will come through strong enough. It's going to be a fucking hell of a storm too. Strong enough to wipe Long Island off of the tip of America because it's not bedrock. It's just kind of like a giant sand pile that stands outside the water that we all live on now. And there used to be one opposite Coney Island that had a house on it. What was it? Coney Island disappeared island? Let's go with that. Detroit Coney site a search for remains of woman. No, Coney Island. Hogs Island. Hogs Island. Hogs Island was the name of two islands near Long Island, New York until 1890s. One is present day Barnum Island, which include the village of Island Park. So this is not it. Coney Island. Coney Island. Hold on, but this says disappeared. All right. No, I went to a wedding. It was very nice. Took the ferry, went all the way out there, small town America. So, a person I knew grew up there, and the town had to have about fucking 500 people in it. And I was like, wow, this is. It looked like the little town in What About Bob? Now, this is amazing to me because I'm a city kid, and I only see this kind of places on TV. But it was so freaking beautiful. It was hilly, like you could ride up and get a nice. It was by the coastline. You could see ships in the distance and stuff. And they had a history of going out to fish. It was like a fishing village, port town. It was awesome. Coney Island. Where is this fucking island? All right. Uh, NYC island disappears in storm. Let's do that. It was Hogs Island. All right. August 24. I thought this was in the 20s. August 24th, 1893. The disappearance of Hogs Island. All right, we're going to read this. We're not reading it from that because that. Yesterday, I went to cut the double stream off and I accidentally hit end stream, which is right next to the. What are you writing that you have to delete there, William? Two boys missing after being swept away by Sandy in Staten Island. Yeah, I remember this. A lot of people died. A Category 5 hurricane could wipe out New York City for good. No, we'll just rebuild something else there. But maybe that. Well, I don't want to say that will be a good thing because the loss of life is going to be fucking ridiculous, and we don't want that. But I would say that earthquakes and people migration patterns and different opportunities have killed not neighborhoods, communities before, and people, maybe it needs a new cycle, right? Maybe Broadway moves to like Wisconsin, and all of a sudden, the middle of the country is the thing to be. Okay, hold on, wait a minute. Two boys missing after I death tolls 45 in New York area. I mean, that fireman and his son died in their house in Staten Island, which is the city. They drowned in their basement, one trying to rescue the other. They drowned in their basement. I was like, and two little kids got like the storm. The house collapsed. The mother had the two babies, if I remember correctly, trying to get to a neighbor's house, and then got hit by a wall of water and lost a 4-year-old, the 2-year-old, and the 5-year-old, 4-year-old. Barely managed to save herself. They all went slush. Never to be seen again, the boys. It's the kind of stuff you see on nature programs where you're like, wow, whew, the tiger got that one, or the flood came through, or the fires came through, see the animals running, right? We're just on this ball, man, trying to make it. Are you gonna need a lawyer? We're all gonna need a lawyer, my brother. Swept away. The storm is brutal, right? Remember that movie about the people who went missing on a boat, and the last scene has the boat almost look like it's gonna crest a wave, and you can see like the sunlight, and there's like all this hope, and then the wave goes, yeah, and then it just flips the boat upside down and it takes it back. Everything gets gray again, and the guy's like floating alone, like in the giant torrent of the hurricane, and he's like, "Darling, I'm thinking of you, always, honey, lamb, muffin, cupcake, that kind of thing." I was like, "Oh, that's sad." Oh, okay. What happened to Hogs Island? Let's read it. New York Historical.org. Come on. What's going on? Why is it not loading? Why is it not loading? Do I have to be a member or something? On the night of August 23rd, 1893, a hurricane now classified as a Category 2 triggered 30-foot storm swell off Coney Island. That's what I said, Coney Island. Why did it say Long Island? Huh. Off of Coney Island, flooding Lower Manhattan and uprooting trees in Central Park. Flooding Lower Manhattan and uprooting trees in Central Park. Oh my God. New York is not 30 foot above water, by the way. Although the storm did considerable damage, it did not and has not since been reported destroyed the entire peninsula. What? Although the storm did considerable damage, it did not, as has since been reported, destroy the entire peninsula. Okay. As late as 1902, Hogs Island was still operating. That's what I thought. It wasn't 18. Man. Operating as a resort at the Brooklyn Eagle reported after yet another storm hit the area in April of that year. The Bath Beach, which is known for the residents as Hog Island, is a long. Okay, the final demise of Hog Island is apparently undocumented, but it seems to have washed away with the tide sometime in 1920. I got half of this right, you're telling me? I knew it was in the 20s. I knew it was off Coney Island. I knew it was a storm. But you're telling me the storm part is wrong. But why did that story have 1896? What the fuck did 1896 have to do with anything? This is how you get bad information into your system. So now, and this is, I'm sorry, I'm parsing it out of my head because I'm like, I've got conflicting material going on here. So now I won't remember it incorrectly. Long Island. What the heck did Long Island have to do with any of that? All right. Let me check the chat. Hey, Edward, good to see you. Oh, well, thank you, man. It's always good to see you. I hope things are going well. I hope your new year is running swimmingly. And it's always good to have you in the chat. We talked about Whoopi Goldberg yesterday, and I said what I said, but then I was sort of corrected by a tweet, which we went in on. But Whoopi Goldberg is suspended for 2 weeks. Oh my gosh. Teachable moments ends with you being, excuse me, teachable moments ends with you being sent to your room for being a naughty boy or girl or whatever. I mean, it's controlling language. It really is. It's one thing to be wrong. I was taught, let the stupid people talk. You'll know who to listen to, who not to in a crisis, right? Now nobody speaks. Everybody just has nice platitudes. You can't criticize anything. Oh, gaslight me. All right. Is that it? Do we have any more news? Are we gonna end this one? It's 7:30. Here's another thing you can't do. You can't commit crimes and then sell your story and make money off of it anymore. The money goes to your victims. So this woman, Anna Delvey, German con artist who scammed New York City socialites, addresses Netflix series based on her crimes, right? So apparently, look, I hate to say it, but this country is obsessed with Europe. And the elites of this country are sort of obsessed with European royalty. Jeff Bezos has a $500 million yacht. I hope it sinks. um, with him on it. All right, put that in your freaking newspaper. People are suffering. Oh, meanwhile, got a super ostentation. I wouldn't so much mind it if everything was working well, but nobody wants to see this when things are falling apart. You're not even being conspicuously. I mean, we know you're loaded. We know you could have like 9 of them if you wanted to, but you're not even being conspicuously quiet about it. So when this whole place becomes the French fucking Revolution, and again, mind you, I said it before and I'll say it again: we are of a revolutionary people, right? It started in a revolution. Do not think that you won't be on the wrong side of this. You know the place is up for violence. I mean, it's been aimed at one group for a very long time, but people have been blowing shit up and shooting people and assassinating people in this place since the shit began. Excuse my language. Since the thing began, and I mean, you've got everybody hyped up on political reasons, touchy about religious reasons, all to stay in office. So yeah, this is gonna get really, really interesting. Um, while the rich get richer, the average worker is just angry at the whole deal. And now it's how the Democrats may actually pull off a major redistricting upset. And that's another thing with districting. I mean, how could you? There should be a penalty for some of this shit. You can just try that, and they say no, and then you just go march on like nothing ever happened and stay in office. You should be able to be censured so many times before you're banned from politics. And there's enough of us. You should be able to be banned from politics, right? They write plenty of laws against us, the average person out here, and they don't even guarantee that we get good governance. We'll see. No, he's gonna have some of it removed, right? So he must have been like, "Hey, if you do this to the bridge, I'll give you guys $2 billion. $2 billion. We're a government. We do okay. I'll give you $20 billion. What? $20 billion. How long? How much longer? Well, it would probably take us $50 million to dismantle this tiny little bridge, and it'll probably take 2 weeks. And 20, yeah, it's totally worth it. I would have done it too. Right? They're a small town in the Netherlands. He's never going to show up there again. You can't get your boat to the Atlantic Ocean. Sorry. I wonder how much you paid for it. Um, but that's the arrogance of it. It's like in the 80s, I remember a guy wanted to sue, I think he did, because he wanted an F-15. And they were like, no, it's a military area. He was like, I don't want bombs and shit on it, but I want to be able to go from New York. They were like, no. But it's my right as a citizen. And the judge threw it out. He's like, no. You'll fuck with air flight controls and all this stuff in places where you shouldn't be, and you'll be the only one of those? No. I'd be like, yeah, why? You should have checked the bridge before you fucking built the boat, you idiot. Now build a giant helicopter to fly it out. Wag, a dog walking startup that once raised 300 million from a single investor is going public through SPAC. It raised $300 million from a single investor. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, this place is primed to explode. There's more hungry people than rich people. In a land of guns, like I like to keep reminding people, I think you need to fix the education system, fix the legal system, fix the criminal justice system, firstly. But fix the legal system as a whole. You need to fix the medical system. And you need to shore up the average person's economics. But all this pull yourself up by your bootstraps while you rig the game has gotten you nothing but animosity from a lot of people. Enough is enough. Meeting New York City Mayor Biden pledges progress in fight against gun violence. Biden's in New York City. Oh, good lord! Let's go to all the liberal capitals and talk to all the brown people. Look, what is the fight against gun? He's here. He is again talking on both sides of his face. China is a power because we give them money and have been doing this. They would have failed if you didn't let them build everything. these people really. I mean, I think it's beyond treasonous. I really do. I really do. You strengthen the hand of your enemy while weakening the hands of your citizens, so you could be powerful on the world stage. Zuckerberg loses 29 billion in a day as Meta shares crash. Why is Meta shares crashing? What did I miss? But this sounds like one of those things where people just all wait for the computers for like 2 weeks or whatever, a month or whatever, this quarter, that quarter. But then next week they were like, oh, Meta's having record, you know, growth of sales or whatever after their so-called crash last year, last whatever. Why is it crashing? Here's the thing about all these fucking Karens and all these people who got fucking awards and ponies. They're all out now. They're all in the business community, in the on social media and just trying to get everybody canceled. This smug, live your life the way I want you to live my life. They're fucking abominable, and they're never on the right side of history, and they never get off the couch to do anything about the things they claim to care so much about. Spotify CEO defends Joe Rogan deal in a tense company town hall. Why do you have to defend? Quit. You don't like this job. I mean, what this company stands for. Quit. Leave. I respect that. The idea that you're going to bully somebody into changing the direction of their company seems ridiculous. Now, I don't like your company. I will boycott you. That's my right, right? But I'm not going to demand you change, your logo, your colors, or anything. And this is what a lot more and more of this seems to be to me, right? A tent. What and the word tense? What does that mean? Like somebody was going to get up and punch him in the face. It might have been terse. Everybody's snotty, but was it really tense? Like, ooh, a fight could break out any minute. Was it that? Or were people like, you need to fucking fix yourself and get Joe Rogan out of here? Mm-hmm. See, that's terse. That's snotty. Tense is if you don't, oof, I'm telling you, y'all gonna have man. People are like, oh my god, what is he? That's the difference. So, who wrote this article? Ashley K. Carmen. Yeah, all right, Ashley, you're done. Not even gonna read it. Oh, the next 2 months, I'm working on bar chords, baby. So there's gonna be a lot more music around. Isn't State of the Union coming pretty soon? Yeah, he's gonna tell you what a great job he's done. I'm not even gonna watch it because I'm gonna lose my shit. I should stream it. Ugh. What, man, William? Don't give me ideas like this, man. I'm trying to get away from politics. I'm supposed to be gaming, remember? Ohio man accused of fatally stabbing mom more than 20 times in a parking lot. Stopped because he got tired. All right, so who am I to be mad at in this scenario? I mean, you raised this person. So if the government tells me he's crazy, he wasn't on the medication, it could have been anybody, he had a fixation with his mom, I'm like, all right, fine. But if you tell me he was mentally sound and you raised him and he did this to you, I'm wondering what happened in your house. Stop acting like everybody just goes off the fucking rails on their own. Some of these people need raising, and sticking them in front of an Xbox isn't doing it. So now he gets to sit in a box forever for killing you. It's horrible. Secrets of Playboy alleges cleanup crew concealed dozens of sexual assaults. There's a lot of talk about Hugh Hefner now, but he's been dead for 30 years. Bill Maher used to go to Hugh Hefner's pad all the time, so maybe somebody should go ask Bill Maher some questions. Here's the thing. The women there were of age and they knew what was up. It was a sex palace. Stop acting like you thought it was a fucking library, right? there's pictures that leaked out of him, and they were like 6 blonde. You know, he had a blonde fetish, bottled blondes, right? You know, you were the bombest girl if you didn't have to be a blonde, if you were a brunette or a redhead. There was super rarity of those, but everybody knew what was going on. All the movie stars showed up there because that's what was going on. Now all of a sudden, you're the victim of what? Your 20s that nobody married you, and you can't tell your girlfriends or your granddaughter that you got banged by Elvis and Sinatra one night or whatever. You know what I'm saying? What is your fantastic story of working there now? If you didn't get famous or marry some rock star producer guy that you just worked there, it was a brothel for the rich, quite frankly, in my opinion, anyway. So now all these women coming out all these years later, you're just kind of like, whatever. At least I'm like, whatever. Happy Black History Month from companies that make prison even lonelier. Why would you equate prison and Black History Month in this article? Just from this title, I'm calling this article racist. Happy Black History Month from the companies that make prison even lonelier. Who wrote this? Katie Way. I got all kind of problems with this. The headline is all kind of fucked up. All right. Isn't State of the Union coming up prison? Yes. Was watching Graham Nash. He said in 1972 was watching Graham Nash. He said in 1972, Neil Young, Stephen Stills, David Crosby, and him tried to get into Canada. They all got into a bus. I'm assuming they all got into a butt. They all got in. They all got in, but oh, see, I'm correcting shit, and I'm not even reading right. They all got in, but he went back home and wrote "Immigration Man." So they all were going to immigrate to Canada because of the Vietnam War and all that jazz. And they were just kind of going to be pompous rock stars in Canada. I love how Americans think that we'll just move to Canada. They'll just be happy to have us. The Canadians are like, why are we a fallback plan? Yo, Canadians, you better watch your ass. Because if America wants breathing room, and it's getting warmer too, there'll be less snow up there. It's gonna be awesome living in Canada. Canada, Mexico. Canada, what is it? A Mexican Mara Canada? Yeah. Um, Black woman sentenced to 6 years in prison over a voting error. The only people who ever seem to go to fucking jail for voting shit is black people, and then they run on it in the fall. So this is why I don't like this. I think the justice system is a shit show. You let these people get all these runs at these fifth columns that they set up here for racial reasons. Is American democracy really in peril? A debate with Ross Douthat. Who is Ross Douthat? Iconic bridge should be dismantled to let Jeff Bezos' yacht pass through. And then it'll be reassembled. It's not really dismantled. Dismantled implied they're going to take it apart and the fucking get. You know what I mean? It's disassembled and then reassembled. Chelsea Crisp's mother says she hid her high functioning depression. She jumped out a window. That's fairly showy shit. I grew up with this girl. She was beautiful. Accomplished. Wrote a book, and then she killed herself. She had a little kid. Um, what do you do with that? I think I'm allowed to think differently on this topic. I think it's a fair amount of selfishness when you do it one of two ways. When you leave a little kid, right? Um, and when you do it in some showy, ridiculous way, like you shotgun yourself and someone's got to find you, or you hang yourself and your mom's got to find you, right? Versus taking a handful of pills and going to sleep, right? And they find you lying in bed, blue or whatever, with a note on the nightstand. So you can cry and weep and you have an open coffin. Versus all this, goodbye, cool world. How am I gonna fucking really do this so mom can be really impressed with me? A shotgun all over her fucking wallpaper. What? Right? It's a lot of showy bullshit. And I think if a lot of those people, I think depression is this. I mean, we all go through it, right? I go through it. But just like you go through happy phases, oh man, that was a good summer, that was great. Like you go through sad phases too. But a lot of these people have been told that they're super important and everyone's around to humor them. And when they leave the house and find out that that's not the case, they have to enter the real world, and the real world is depressing. Some people have actual depression. They need medication for it. Some people are, and here's the thing about being sad: it can become like a trap, right? This kind of alluring, kind of like walk into the forest, a little one more step, one more, like just kind of like these enticing things. Like it's like sexuality. The kinkier you get, the harder it is to get off. And then before you know it, you're in rubber fucking suits, ball gags, and duct tape to the ceiling, and all this other stupid shit. When it started out nice and simple, right? Like liking a pair of boobies or a cute ass or whatever the fuck. And now here you are, dressed as a rabbit, getting fucked in the woods. What? Where did you go off the rails, man? Anyway, oh, oh my goodness. All right. How do I know what? How do I know all this stuff about sexuality? We should all know sexuality. We're all sexual beings, right? It starts out fairly simple, liking somebody, blushing to hold hands, and it blossoms into puberty stage of all this good shit. But yeah, but that's a thing, right? I mean, if someone was like, "Oh yeah, come over to my house. I got this rubber suit that'll fit you," and it'll be, I'll be like, "No, I'm not even with that." People think that all sex is good sex. No, the sex you like, I guess, is fine, but I mean, I know what's good for me. So, how do you get there? Right? I had a dominating mother. I love a woman to yell at me. I had a dominating father. I love a man to spank me. Oh yeah, okay. All right. What if you didn't have any of that? What if it was just normal? Right? Well, normal, right? But what if it's just normal? And other people are introduced to stuff. Oh, you never tried this? Well, let me tie you up and spank your ass with a what are those things? Those uh, paddles. Yeah, with a paddle. Oh yeah, I'm into that. Oh, I tried that. I'm not into that at all, right? But for you to try that, someone had to have fucking discovered it and it became a thing. Shared it with enough people. Sex is normal. Sex with multiple people, I'd say that's normal, right? Before there was any rubber this or batteries and people lived in caves, I'm pretty sure there was a bunch of there's nothing else to do long we all bang each other moments rather than, hey, let's dress up as a lion and you dress up as a mammoth, kind of like weird shit, which is I think just a product of modern society. It's kind of like, and usually by people who have all they want and more. Now they have to go an extra way distance to kind of like be, I guess, entertain themselves in one arena or another. It's usually sexual though, but sometimes it's just buying stuff or having people dismantle bridges for you. Governments, right? Look at me, I'm a powerful government. But step outside the law, right? And you're a common citizen, you will be arrested and thrown in a box. Russia just came and did that to all their oligarchs. Saudi Arabia, that's how that guy took power over there. He did that to all their oligarchs. All these people own a senator giving them money. Somebody's going to come through and go, we shut down Congress for cleaning, and we want to speak to these billionaires immediately. And no, you can't leave the country. Then what are you going to do? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to end this podcast because I'm going to be like, well, I, for one, welcome my new overlords. You ain't even got to knock on my door. I am too old to fucking fight, and I am not a spy. I'm not disappearing anyplace. I'm fighting for America to make it fair and decent. But once a new regime comes over, I'm a citizen of that. Y'all can plant bombs and shoot it out all you fucking want. The moment has passed. You should have did it before. Now it's just fall in line and eat your gruel like the rest of us. All right, boys and girls, that is going to be it for me. We're leaving this 15 minutes early. That means we did a good hour. We'll be back tomorrow. We stream every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sundays we stream at 10 a.m. It's the Sunday session. Come through for the Sunday service. It's a Sunday service. No, it's a Sunday session. We didn't call it service because service has religious implications, and we want everybody to come on through. And be spiritual. But yeah. And the birth rates are down, so people aren't even doing that anymore. And that was ruined by all it's supposed to be a one night stand. What's with all these kids? And then the people, then you blame the men. What? That doesn't make any sense. If you're in charge, how are you blaming me? Ugh, good lord. So yeah, the con people have totally fucked up the ecosystem and the dynamics between groups, citizenry, and relationships. Nobody's getting married anymore either. We'll see what America becomes in 20 years. Because I think something's about to fucking happen. It can't continue like this. It really can't. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I will be back tomorrow. I was gonna stream at 6 tonight, but man, I'm glad I waited till 6:30. I'm gonna be back tomorrow at 6:30. And I'll be back Saturday at 6:30. And I'll be back Sunday at 10 a.m. We end this one on a positive note. And the positive note is that we at least know what's going on and it's hard to fool us. This is what we in the Black community of the 60s revolution known as being woke. Woke gets a bad term, but be woke. Woke means you're not being fooled by people, right? You're not getting conned by people. You know the place is unfair and you have your eye out for it because you know you're a target. Nobody wants you to be woke because they want to take advantage of you. How dare you not let me con you? Is the kind of nonsense going on here. Be woke. Know what's going on. Know the players. Know their histories. Know what they did and know what they want. And then deny them all that shit. I will see you in the next one. Take care of yourself. Have a good night, William. I think we're going to write Trump. I see it says good night, Trump. All right, guys. Take care.